everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I am making a blanket today. So this started because I have a friend who's expecting a baby, and even before she knew she was having a baby, she sent me a crochet pattern for one of those blankets where if you hold it from the center and roll it up, it looks like a bouquet of flowers. And she was so excited about this blanket, thought it was so cool, and then when she found out she was having a girl, she asked if I would make one for her. So that is what we're doing today. However, I found a twist for this. So I had only ever seen those blankets as crochet versions, and I was just kind of browsing, looking for a pattern that would work with the yarn I had already purchased for the blanket, because I knew that there were lots of variations on this. And I actually found a knit version, and it's a free pattern. So this is the Rose Bouquet blanket by The Life and Times of Kate, and I got it as a free download on Ravelry. I'll make sure to put it in the description below. And I realized that since I hadn't seen a knit version of this, and I've been kind of feeling more knitting projects lately than crochet projects, I thought that I would go for it. So let's start with the yarn. My friend also wanted to prioritize using natural fibers in her baby blanket, so I picked up Lion Brand Kobu for her. This is going to be the base color of the blanket, so the part that looks like the bouquet wrapping. And I have 3 cakes of this in the color Vanilla Blossom. It's a nice, soft, creamy off-white that I thought would be perfect. Then for the leaf sections, I got the color Bayberry, which is this soft, almost teal green, but definitely still green. And for the roses, I got the color Plume. It's this soft, dusty, almost purpley pink, but definitely like a dusty rose color. This pattern also calls for 4mm needles, which I was really excited to find because I thought I didn't have the size. Turns out they were in another project, so I just kind of slipped them out for the moment so that I can use them for this one. The pattern does call for using first DPNs, then circulars that are 60 centimeters, then circulars that are 100 centimeters. I'm just going to use the ones that I've got. I think these are 60s. I don't mind cramming stitches onto my needles. That doesn't bother me. I also do the magic loop method, so I'm not really worried about the section that's supposed to be knit on DPNs. I'll just do it in magic loop, and I think that's all we need, and we're set to go. So I'm going to start knitting the body of this blanket. I am almost at the end of my first skein, and here's what we're working with so far. So the pattern calls to use 200 grams of your base color yarn. I have 300 grams because I got 3 100-gram skeins. So I'm gonna go ahead and use up the second one, obviously, since this is just the first one, and then kind of see what width we're dealing with. I have a feeling I may want to use all 3, which I think then I would just adjust and make more roses and flowers at the end if I want the border to be a little bit denser with those roses and flowers. The roses and leaves are knit separately in individual pieces, so I think it's pretty customizable as to how many you add and what the placement is. So I'm just going to keep knitting. This is a very memorizable pattern after the first few setup rows, because you're alternating between an increase row and a row where you're not increasing. So it ends up being a really great mindless knit. This has actually been the project that I've been knitting before going to bed. I like to, in the evenings now, listen to audiobooks for a few minutes and work on a good, mindless knitting project. So this has been perfect. I do think I am going to have to upgrade my needles and get one with a bigger diameter. I'm not uncomfortable with how close together the stitches are at the moment, but it's going to get a lot bigger faster. So I did go ahead and order needles with a longer cable length in the same size so that I can upgrade at some point. But for now, I'm just going to add in my second skein and keep knitting in endless circles. days, and I wanted to jump back in and kind of show you the progress on the blanket. So I am still using the same needles I started with at the moment, but I do think I've kind of reached the point where the stitches are kind of cramped. It wouldn't be awful to keep going on these needles, but it is kind of hard to see the finished shape. So I did go ahead and get some new ChiaoGoo needles. These are the 60 centimeter ones. It was the biggest cord that I could find. So I think I am going to go ahead and swap the needles I'm using. This blanket is so fun to work on. I'm really enjoying the process. I do think I'm going to make this again. Not with the roses and everything, but just the circle blanket in a like couch throw size with some yarn that I have. So I'm just loving the pattern so far. I think it's a really great alternative to the crocheted versions of it, but I haven't gotten to the roses and the leaves yet. So I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see on that one. But I'm going to go ahead and swap out those needles so that I can keep knitting. Alright, I have been working on this blanket for quite a while now. It's several days, weeks, I don't know how long later. And this is what I've got. I did go into my third skein of the Kobu yarn. The pattern only called for 200 grams of yarn and each skein was 100 grams, so I definitely went above what the pattern required. I also did kind of a minor change towards the end. I was afraid of the blanket curling because the pattern shows continuing stockinette until the end of the blanket, which I would think would make the edges of the blanket curl in. So I did do a few rows of garter stitch just to kind of help with that a little bit. I don't think it's going to completely take away the curl without blocking, but I thought it would make it a little bit better. And the way I did that was I did the increase rows as written in the pattern, and for the rows with no increases, I just did a purl all row. So I did 6 rows of garter stitch, so 3 of those purl rows. And then to give an even cleaner finish, I think I'm going to do an I-cord bind off because I thought that that would make it easier to hide in all of the tails from the leaves and roses that we're going to be sewing on to the blanket. And I thought that it would give a nice clean edge as well. Okay, I don't know how many days it's been since the last time I filmed a clip, but I had a couple of updates for you on the blanket. First of all, I finished the main body of the blanket. It does still curl on the edges a little bit. I am kind of hoping that the roses sewn onto it will fix that ever so slightly, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I would definitely make the base blanket again in like stripes or fun colors. I like the idea of having a round baby blanket. And then when you fold it the right way, so like kind of in quarters and then roll it up, it does kind of have that bouquet shape, and the rolling doesn't look so bad when it's rolled up like that. The other thing that I started was making the little roses. So this is what they look like. They are knit flat and then sewn up, and the increases and the stitch pattern is what causes the edges to curl and make that little rosebud shape. I have already made 10 of these. You're supposed to make 10 small ones and 10 large ones, but I ran into an issue. First of all, in the pattern, it does not say a cast on number for the larger size rows. I believe it's the same number as the small size rows because there are more increases for the larger size, but not 100% sure on that. Couldn't find the answer online, but if I were to make the larger size roses, that's what I would do. 2, I got 100 grams of this pink yarn. I got 1 skein, and I currently have like 55 left, which means I can't make the larger size rows unless I want to get more yarn, which I don't want to do because I would kind of like to finish this blanket today, preferably, if I can. So I'm going to make 20 small roses instead of 10 large and 10 small, and then dive into the leaves. I have kind of the whole day set aside to work on this, so I'm hoping that I can get those roses done, get the leaves done, assemble everything, weave in all my ends. Seems a little ambitious for today. We might have to pick this up again tomorrow as well. Here is the finished blanket, and it does look like a bouquet when it's all folded up, but I'll go ahead and unfold it so you can see what it looks like. I do really love how the flowers and the leaves look over the edges. I think it turned out really cute. A couple things about the pattern that I ended up changing. So I mentioned earlier that I did an I-cord bind off for the edge because I thought it would be a good way to weave in the ends, and I do think that that was still the right call. It did make weaving in the ends easier. However, because my roses and leaves were a different color than the main blanket, you could still kind of see them. So I ended up single crocheting around the I-cord bind off with the green to just really seal in the ends, and I think the combination of those two techniques worked really, really well. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this up again. The other thing I think adding the green helped with is that when it is rolled up, it kind of fills in the bouquet a little bit more so that it looks a little bit more like a true bouquet instead of just the white. But I think this turned out amazing. I'm going to gift it kind of like sitting up in the gift bag and probably tie like a lace ribbon around it to kind of help it hold its shape. Or if, I don't think I'll have enough time to do it, but I think another cute way to gift this would be to find a bouquet basket or a vase even that it could go in to gift it. I'm also gifting a couple picture books with this one. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm really excited to see my friend's reaction when I give it to her next week from when I'm filming this. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some inspiration for one of your projects, and also just to kind of check out some of those viral things that are in a craft that you don't normally do and see if it's available in something else. Like this design, I had only seen crochet versions of it online until I was searching for patterns and found a knit one, so don't be afraid to see if there's an equivalent in your preferred yarn craft for those viral patterns, because usually somebody ends up making something similar. But thank you for watching. If you are interested in more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and if you want to follow me on other social media sites, that information is in the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.